What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one, we're going to talk a little bit about that Lou Anarumo defense, right? There was a lot of media availability. You guys may have seen, I know, the guys over at Bring the Juice did a video about like all the media availabilities and kind of went through what they were talking about. But as I was going through, I started with Lou Anarumo and just started listening to his press conference, and there was something that was dropped into it that I was already curious about, something I've mentioned here, and something that I thought at some point we'd be able to talk about. And because Lou Anarumo mentions it, he didn't mention any names specifically, but we're talking about a role in this defense and talking about what we could possibly do in this defense and get one of the players we hope is going to work out and be great for us. I think there's a role in this defense where he could be great, right? And of course, if you enjoy this content, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. But as we continue to go into this, the player that I would like to talk about here, as I'm sure you could tell by the thumbnail, is going to be Juju Brents, somebody that is an Indianapolis native. He's from Ben Davis. I have a lot of family that's from Ben Davis. I didn't personally go there. I went to Brownsburg. Brownsburg traditionally gets smacked in the mouth by Ben Davis in the playoffs. So, I feel some type of way about Ben Davis a little bit, but nonetheless, when you look at it, the Indianapolis kid gets drafted by the Colts. Not just drafted by the Colts, and now this isn't just an undrafted free agent. That's a good story. Gets signed by his hometown team, which does seem to happen a lot. But this here is a story where it's drafted in the second round, 44th overall in the draft. Okay. Second round, 44th overall. So this is, again, not just another draft pick. This is a high draft pick, right? like we spent high draft capital. We traded back and ended up still getting about 44. And so this is a guy that, at least for me, I would still like to see him work out. Of course, bring Charvarius Ward in, that muddies the waters a little bit, right? Because now you have Charvarius Ward on one side, you have Jalen Jones on another, presumably Jalen Jones on another, even though competition is what is being preached. You would just assume our number one corner, since he was a rookie, is going to be our number two corner now that Charvarius Ward has already been confirmed, like, hey, he's going to carry number ones, right? And Jalen Jones is going to carry number twos. So going forward, that's what we have going on. And then you have Kenny Moore in the slot. So where does Juju Brents fit in? And I just want to bring this up again. We've brought this topic up before. A lot of new people here in the off season. So maybe you didn't hear this part of the conversation. Wherever you get your Colts content, I don't know if you've heard this theory from other people, but this is what I'm thinking, is that Juju could be a little bit of a secret weapon for us. So I want to listen to what Lou Anarumo has to say here, and then come back and we'll talk about it.
You want to try to get cover guys covering receivers, and nowadays these tight ends, it's the days to me of putting linebackers on tight ends is not ideal for the defense. So you always want to get a bigger, longer athlete that maybe can run a little bit DB mindset. So yeah, more DBs out there. In pure passing situations, I think is something that we've always tried to do and will continue to do.
Okay, so that right there, I think, says a lot to what I've tried to say in the past, right? And with it, he continues to talk about Lou Anarumo. Everybody's talking about, like, yes, we will deploy more secondary guys. You expect that in Lou Anarumo's defense. He's going to try, as he said, he's going to try to keep offenses unbalanced. And it might not have been in that particular clip. You might have said it right before that. But talking about keeping offenses unbalanced, and that's really one of the objectives with his entire defense, and trying to match up with all the different things offenses are trying to throw out. And with athletic tight ends nowadays, again, this is where Juju comes in. You can't just have anybody covering tight ends. Kenny Moore can stick to a tight end, but Kenny Moore gives up a lot of size to a tight end. When you talk about we're going to have more DBs on the field anyways, right? If we're going to have more DBs on the field, maybe we don't need that extra safety that we've kind of talked about. Hey, maybe we need to go get a third safety that we can trust to come onto the field, right? Do you want Rodney Thomas being that third safety, or do you want it to be one of the veterans out there? The conversation we had recently, honestly, and so do you really need that if you have Juju Brents? And the comparison I want to make here, of course, not the same defenses, but very multiple. When you think about the way the Ravens changed their defense from coordinator to coordinator, but specifically in Mike McDonald's defense, and the way they were able to use Kyle Hamilton. And I think, he was a secret weapon for that defense. And I think when you look at Juju, similar body type, similar play style, Juju very aggressive at corner, right? Like through his rookie year, he had 8 starts and 6 pass breakups in that time, and I thought he was decent in coverage. He obviously was a rookie, being thrusted into a starting role right away. And he struggled a little bit. He also had injuries and had to battle back, right? But very aggressive. His play style is very aggressive. So I think if you put him in a spot where he can blitz, you put him in a spot where he can help in the run, he can be a DB that helps in the run, right? Just like Kenny does. Right, but then you have him and Kenny solidifying the outside. Our defense got killed. If you think back to just the Packers game, okay, outside runs, outside the whole first half, outside runs killed us. They had over 200 yards because we couldn't stop them running to the outside. That was a theme for the Colts over the past couple seasons. Teams would take advantage of the outside, right? And we had Kenny Moore, but you just get a blocker or two on Kenny Moore, you can make other guys miss. Well, you put Juju Brents in there, you're not going to have that issue. Of course, the issue with Juju Brents is health, right? The quad injury that keeps him out during his rookie year. And of course, last year, where he plays pretty well in the Texans game early on, and then of course ends up getting the injury to his knee, which was, I believe, PCL and meniscus, that kept him out all year until the last game of the season. At that point, how much are you really going to play Juju? Right, with the defense being in a rhythm at that point, you're trying to win and get in the playoff. I can't remember. I don't even think playoffs were an option after we lost to the Texans. But like even more so, are you really going to play Juju? And he didn't have any stats there in that game against the Texans. So, what's his role going to be? Can he play? Would he be willing to play special teams? Probably. Big body guy, somebody that you could put on special teams somewhere and find value for him. But again, I think on the Lou Anarumo defense, I think he can be a secret weapon for us the way Kyle Hamilton was. Because Kyle Hamilton came into the league, they couldn't find something that would work for him. And they just moved him around the defense, and moving around the defense, right? Safety room, cornerback room, talking to different guys, getting different perspectives around the defense, the nickel, and playing, the different safeties, and the perspective that he got. Right, and he's talked about this, and coaches have talked about this, like the perspective he got from moving around and learning different parts of the defense, becoming a more intelligent football player as he, has gained experience in the NFL and gained experience in different positions, and was able to be an absolute freak for them over the last couple years. So I think that's a way we can get specifically in Lou Anarumo's defense. Like we have to have success this year so that we can keep, the roster and the staff that we have, if we have success this year. Because Lou Anarumo, I do believe he is a good defensive coordinator. I believe we can have a lot of success with the people that we have. And I think we might have a spot where Juju Brents can find a lot of value in the 2025 season. Again, if he can stay healthy, his aggressive play style at 6'3", 200 pounds, his aggressive play style, I love it so much as a corner. Like seeing a corner be that physical is something that, dude, gets me going. Man, you want to get me out of my seat on Sunday? Give me a corner that'll hit somebody, right? Like Vontae Davis wasn't scared of nobody, right? I saw him lay the wood at Colts game, multiple plays in a row, lay the wood on somebody. Like I love it when a cornerback is aggressive, and Juju Brents has the size. He's an Indianapolis kid, somebody that I hope can find success as he goes into his third year. A lot of third-year guys really need that draft to start stepping up in a big way this year. Juju's one of those guys, again, as a second-round pick. send just another guy that's a second-round pick. We need him to work out, and I think he can in this defense. And we'll see what happens, man. We're going to deploy more secondary. What's that going to look like? The rotations that we have, they talked about during this Lou Anarumo press conference, the rotations are going to look like something that we haven't seen before. It's going to be very different than the Gus Bradley defense, like very different than the Gus Bradley defense. And I can't wait to see finally the dogs get taken off the leash. Finally. Okay, and of course, I'd like to know what your opinion is on this. What do you think Juju, if of course predicated on the fact that he stays healthy, how do you think Juju fits into this defense? Can he fit into this defense? What do you think that looks like? You let me know down in the comment section how you think that situation is going to go and what your thoughts are on that. And of course, make sure if you enjoy the content, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you continue to get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.